So our today's topic we'll be discussing about the basic concept of second mates exam. What is actually second mates exam in India? So this exam is basically to become a deck officer in India. So what is a deck officer? Deck officer is basically a navigating officer who is responsible for the safe navigation of ship. So जैसे आपने देखा होगा एयरलाइंस में पायलट्स होते हैं, वैसे ही शिपिंग में हम डेक ऑफिसर्स होते हैं टू सेफली टेक द शिप फ्रॉम पॉइंट ए टू पॉइंट बी. तो प्राइमरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हमारी होती है सेफ नेविगेशन. देन रैंक्स क्या होते हैं? व्हाट आर द रैंक्स इन डेक साइड इन मर्चेंट नेवी? सो सबसे पहली रैंक होती है जब आप ट्रेनिंग स्टार्ट करते हो, दैट इज डेक कैडेट. That is the time you are doing your training period on board. Then after clearing your exams, you go first time as a third officer, and then you become second officer, and after that you become chief officer, and finally you become captain, who is overall responsible for the ship. Then why is it called second mates exam and not third mate exam? Okay, so when you are clearing the second mates exam, you are getting a license for second mate. That means that after getting your promotion to third officer, you will not have to give your exams again to become second officer. So you already have the license till second officer. So after that there is only onboard promotion. That depends from company to company and on your experience as well. So how well you progress, how well you perform on board ship as a third officer, that will decide how early you will become a second officer. So you don't need any extra exams or license to become second officer. This exams is giving you the license, it's permitting you up till the second officer rank. Then after second officer, if you want to become a chief officer, you'll have to apply for exams again, and after that if you want to become master or captain, you'll have to apply for exams again. So till second officer this is applicable. After that you'll have to apply for 2 times more. So let's discuss about the responsibilities. So primary responsibility, as we already discussed, everybody on board ship who is a deck officer is primarily and solely responsible for the safe navigation of ship. Then the secondary responsibility of everyone is different. Like for a third officer, like I am a third officer, my secondary responsibility is basically maintenance and testing of LSA, that is life saving appliances, and firefighting equipment on board. Then as a second officer, your secondary responsibility changes. It becomes passage planning and handling bridge equipments. Then as a chief officer, you are overall responsible for the cargo handling of the ship. And as a master or as a captain, you are responsible for the entire ship, overall ship, even the engine department. So that's how shipping works. So now we'll be discussing about the eligibility criteria to apply for second mates exam. So can you apply for these exams after clearing your 12th? The answer is no. Can you apply after clearing your DNS or BSc? The answer is straight no. So there is a particular format for this. So we'll be going here. So yeah, so we'll discuss the flowchart here for the better understanding. So there are 2 courses to become deck officer in India. First is DNS, which is with sponsorship, and the second one is BSc in nautical science. So DNS is a 1-year course. So you have to spend only 1 year in college. In BSc, you have to spend 3 years in college. But there are a lot of pros and cons of BSc and DNS. We'll be discussing about that in the future. So first we'll just go through the flowchart. So in DSc, you have 1 year duration. After that, your C time that is required is 18 months. Whereas in BSc, the C time required is 12 months. Then after that, once your C time is complete, your internship, your cadetship is complete on board, you come on land, you do the function course, which is of about 4 months. Whereas in the BSc, this function course is exempted. You don't have to do this. Then you have, from here, everything is same. From the bottom, if you see, all advanced courses, same for DNS, BSc, signaling exam, both have to give. Then second mates exams, writtens, orals, both have to give. So this format from here, it remains the same. Is DNS a diploma course or not? So DNS full form stands for Diploma in Nautical Science, but this is not a diploma course, guys. This is actually a BSc course. So the actual full form of DNS is, it's a DNS leading to applied nautical science course. So once your DNS is complete, so that is including 2 semesters, right? So in BSc you are doing 6 semesters. So in DNS, your 2 semesters are done during land, in your land stage, like when you are doing your college, and then 3 semesters of 6 months each is included in your onboard training of 18 months. So now you have done 5 semesters. Now the 6th semester is left. That 6th semester is the function course that you are doing after completing your C time. So that 4 months course is your 6th semester, and after that this entire thing will get you your BSc degree. So what you have to do is, once you complete your entire everything, once you come back, you can apply for your function course that is of 4 months, and during that process you can get your SSTP, structured shipboard training program, in which whatever you have done on board, you have to log everything down in your record books, and that is sent to your Marine Training Institute. And after that, your Marine Training Institute send your marks to the IMU, and then IMU gives your degree. Okay, so this is how it happens. So there are a lot of things in this. Firstly, you get your degree from the Maritime Training Institute, from your Pre-C Institute. Then you have to apply for your endorsement, which is done from IMU, and during that period you are doing your 4 months advanced course as well. So you are saving your time as well, and you are getting your BSc degree as well. So all in all, if I would have to choose between DNS and BSc, I would definitely prefer DNS. So okay, so let's discuss about pros and cons of DNS and BSc. So company wise, if we see, in DNS we are having sponsorships. So sponsorship means that you are already getting a company, whereas in BSc you will be getting placed by a company during your campus. So it's a campus placement. So in BSc your job is not guaranteed, but in DNS, even before starting your course, you have a job in hand. So that is the most important thing why we are doing this course, because we need a job, we need a company, and in DNS that is guaranteed because you are already sponsored. Okay, next, lesser fees. So DNS is just a 1-year course, whereas BSc is 3 years course. So the fees of DNS is much less as compared to BSc. Then if we talk about the learning experience, so in DNS you are only doing 1 year, so you go on board earlier and you get more practical hands-on job experience. So if we talk about like when you are becoming a third officer, then it's more important to have practical knowledge rather than theoretical knowledge. So those 18 months of C time, when you are getting more practical experience, more practical knowledge on board, that is going to come handy to you. Okay, then function course. Function course, don't think of this guys that in BSc function course is exempted, but in DNS you have to do it. So this function course is like a blessing to you guys, because during those 4 months you will get a revision of everything. Like for your writtens, they will prepare you for your writtens as well as your orals. So you don't have to worry about it. It's already included in your course as well. You will get your degree too, and you will get a revision also. So it's a blessing in disguise, I would say. And then same degree as BSc. So आप diploma भी कर रहे हो, आप BSc भी कर रहे हो, you are getting the same degree from IMU. So what's the difference? I would definitely prefer DNS over BSc anytime right now. मैं खुद एक BSc कैंडिडेट हूँ. मेरे को खुद उस टाइम पे, अपने टाइम पे कोई नॉलेज नहीं थी when I started my career in 2015. But right now at present time, if I would have to choose between DNS or BSc, I would definitely choose DNS, but with sponsorship. Don't go without sponsorship guys. Sponsorship is really important. आपके पास कंपनी है, आपके पास जॉब है, तो आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो. But if you are not sponsored, then DNS करने का भी कोई फायदा नहीं है. And we'll be talking about what is GMDSS course. So GMDSS basically stands for Global Maritime Distress and Safety System. So whatever communication systems we have on board, like whenever we are in distress or we require any assistance from other ship, there are some certain equipments that require a license. So every deck officer should have this license to operate and use these equipments. So for that we need to complete the GMDSS course and also clear the GMDSS exam. We'll talk about that later on in the video. Okay, so what is GMDSS course? I already told you it's a maritime course for communication equipment. And then is it a course or an exam? So firstly you will have to do a course which is of about 2 weeks, and then you have an exam which usually depends on institute to institute, and it's usually for 2 or 3 days. And then how tough is it? I would say it's the toughest of all the courses that you are doing, this one is the toughest because this one is having an actual exam. All those other courses that you are doing, all the other 6 courses, advanced courses, they don't have any specific exam. This one, for this one, you will have to face MMD surveyor, you will have to face an examiner from MOC, that is Ministry of Communication, for your SSB orals. And then what is GOC? GOC basically it's a license. The license you get after clearing your GMDSS exam is called GOC. We'll talk about that. So okay, so Global Maritime Distress and Safety System. Course duration, as I told you, it's of 2 weeks. Then 2 to 3 days of examination, depends upon the institute from where you are giving this course, from where you are doing this course. And then, is it a course or exam? I already told you, it's a combination. It's a course as well, and then you have to apply for the exams as well. You have to clear the exams as well. Then let's discuss about the exam pattern. So there are 2 parts in your exam. The first part is written. If you fail in the written, your exams are over for you. So you have to clear your writtens anyhow. Writtens are comparatively easier than the second part. So in your writtens, you will have 2 sections. Section A will be MCQ types, in which you will be having 30 MCQs of 1 mark each, so 30 marks. Then descriptive type, section B. In this you will be having some questions, 5 or 6 questions of 5 marks or 6 marks, and total marks will be 30. So the passing marks total will be 36 out of 60 with 15 marks at least in each question, in each section, sorry. So even if you are getting 36 or 40, but in section A, let's say you are having 12 or 13 marks, you will be termed as fail. So you have to get at least 15 in both the sections and overall score of 36. Then your part B examination comes in place. Then in part B, there are 4 exams. Okay, so first one is the RT log, which is the radio telephony log. So in this one, an examiner will place a sheet and he will give you the basic details about the ship which is in distress and your receivership. And then there are students sitting around, so they will be communicating and he will see how they are communicating. So on the basis of how much clarity you have in your communication on the distress equipment, you will be examined and you will be given marks out of 30. So that exam is called your RT log. You have to write it down as well. You have to speak and you have to write it down as well. And then there is single side band SSB orals. So for this, an examiner from MOC, that is Ministry of Communication, comes in and then he or she is going to take your orals. So that orals is going to be of 20 marks. Then they will be Inmarsat practical and orals. So when you are going for the GMDSS course, there will be a PC on which there will be some simulator course. So in that simulator, you will be taught about Inmarsat as well as DSC. So that practical, first it will be a practical exam and then same examiner is going to ask a few questions from that exam. So that is going to be of 30 marks. So this is a high scoring pattern because in Inmarsat it's quite easy also and it's of 30 marks. So you can score good amount here. And then finally is DSC, which is very important. It's of 20 marks, but this is going to decide whether you are going to pass or fail this whole examination. So this is conducted by a surveyor from MMD. So he is going to take your practical as well as your orals, and orals for DSC is the main thing, guys. If you are not able to answer in the DSC orals, the examiner has the right to fail you even if you have performed very well in your above 3 exams. He might fail you. So you have to be very careful and you have to prepare very well for your DSC orals. Okay, so let's talk about from where you can give the GMDSS exam. Okay, so for GMDSS, I would recommend ARI Institute in Delhi or CCOM Institute in Kolkata. These 2 institutes, they have a good passing rate and you can do your course from here. But for GMDSS exam, there is always a booking which is going on. So this GMDSS course needs to be booked well in advance. So whenever you are planning to sign off, let's say you are signing off in November and you are planning to do this course from December or Jan. So make sure whenever you are going to sign off, you already book your seats, because you won't get your seats for 1 or 2 months. It's already booked all over India. All the main and good institutes, they are already booked. And don't make the mistake of going to any random institute and doing GMDSS exam, because there they are not going to teach you, and then the examiner will come and they will ask you some good questions and then you are going to fail. So it's very important to choose the institute where you are taught very well, and then you do your course from there. So what is GOC? So GOC stands for General Operator's License. So when you are clearing your GMDSS exam, then immediately the next day you will be given your provisional GOC license. So after that after that you will have to get a GOC endorsement, which will cost you 3,000 rupees, and the main GOC license, which is the hard copy license, which you will be required to carry on board your ship as an officer. So that requires a further payment of 5,000 or 10,000 depending upon the validity that you need. In case you need a 20-year validity, then you'll have to pay 5,000, and in case you need a lifetime validity, you'll have to pay 10,000 rupees. So likewise, you will have to decide. I would say 20 years is more than enough. I don't think nobody is going to sail, like most of you are not going to sail more than 20 years. So I would say 5,000 more than enough, sufficient, and you can go ahead and get your GOC for 5,000 rupees for 20 years validity. What is assessment process for second mates exam? So assessment is a process in which your documents will be verified by the MMD before you can apply for the second mates. So this is the assessment checklist. So you have to prepare all the documents as per the checklist, then arrange them nicely in a file, and you have to courier that file to the MMD. Once the MMD receives your file, they will update the status on your DG profile, and then when the verification process by the MMD is complete, you will be notified on your DG profile, and then you can go ahead and book for your exams. Full exam pattern for second mates exams. So in this one we have 6 writtens followed by 3 orals. So 6 writtens are terrestrial and coastal navigation, bridge equipment and watch keeping, cargo handling and stowage, celestial navigation, meteorology, ship construction stability, ship safety and environment protection. Then in the orals we have 3. Function 1 is navigation, function 2 is cargo handling and stowage, and function 3 is controlling the operations of the ship and taking care of persons on board. We'll be talking about the total cost of all courses and second mates exams. And I just want to give you a disclaimer before starting this video. You have to keep 2 things in mind before watching this video. So the cost I have mentioned in this video, it depends on when you are watching this video, and the cost, it varies from institute to institute in India. So I have taken an average cost for each course. Okay, so let's begin. So this is the average cost of each course. So for MFA, for AFF, Advanced Firefighting course, the average cost is around 7,500 rupees. For MFA, it's around 3,500 rupees. For PSCRB, 6,500. For ROSC, 13,000. For ARPA, 7,000. For ECDIS, 13,000. And for GMDSS, which is the most expensive one, guys, it's including all the examination fees and all, it comes to around 35,000. And then this is the function course. This is a 4 months course which only DNS cadets have to complete after completing their sea time. So this will cost you around 45,000. So this course is exempted for BSc cadets, so they can exclude this amount from their total. Okay, now we'll go on to the cost of the examination. Then while applying for assessment, which is a process in which your documents will be verified, you will have to pay a fees of 3,000 rupees. Then for signaling exam, you will have to pay 1,000 rupees. For writtens, the total cost of 6 written exams will be 3,000 rupees. So 500 for each written exam. Then for orals, there are 3 orals. So 1,000 for each oral, total comes to 3,000. And then finally, when you have cleared your exams, when you will be applying for your COC, your certificate of competency, then again you will have to pay 3,000 rupees. So the total cost of all the courses and the exam, including the DNS function course, will come to around 1.5 lakh. And this is not enough, guys. You will have to save more during your cadetship period, because you will be staying at some place, you will be eating, you will be required to take a place also for yourself. So you will have to save at least, I would say, 1.75 to 2 lakhs for yourself during your cadetship time. So guys, don't waste your money and don't spend too much on your shore leaves, and try to save at least 2 lakhs for your courses. Otherwise you will have to ask your family members again, okay, which is not a good thing. Then we'll go ahead and we'll discuss about some tips to save your time and money, okay, during your courses. So first tip is, use your waiting period after your first ship. So let's say you have completed 6 months on your first ship. So there are 4 courses that you can do during your waiting period before going on to your second shift. So those courses are AFF, MFA, PSCRB and your GMDSS course. But there is a catch to it. When you are coming back home, you have to book your courses well in advance. Okay, book your courses in advance. Otherwise, when you come back home and you try to book it, they will give you a date which is for the next month or for 2 months later. So you won't be able to complete that course. Okay, so when you are about to complete your contract, okay, that time from your onboard only, try to find out good institutes which is nearby your place, and then try to book those courses so that you have enough time. When you come back home, you can relax also, and then you can start your courses as well. And always compare the prices of each courses. Like I told you in the beginning of the video, that every institute has its own cost for every course. So you have to compare the prices from various institute, and you have to ask them for offers. Okay, many institute, they run like combo packages offers, like they will give you three courses together, like AFF, MFA and PSCRB, and that will save you at least 2 or 3,000 of your amount. Okay, so you have to ask them for any special discount or any combo offers that are running. Okay, so that will save you some time and some money as well. Okay, in which MMD you can apply for your second mates exams, and which is the best MMD in India. Okay, so in India, these are the following MMDs in which you can apply for your second mates exams. So Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Kandla, Kochi and Noida. Kandla MMD is where I gave my exams from. So this MMD is close to my heart. So guys, let's talk about which is the best MMD in India, like which MMD you should go to, and the passing rates are higher in that MMD. We'll talk about that. So first I'll tell you what used to happen in the earlier days. Okay, so when the COVID pandemic thing did not happen, before that the orals were conducted by 5-6 surveyors at each MMD. So let's say we'll take an example of Mumbai MMD. So in Mumbai MMDs, there were 5 or 6 surveyors, and each surveyors, they had some question set or pet questions which were favorite to them. Okay, so every student, they knew, okay, so if we are going to give from Mumbai, so these are the 5 or 6 surveys we need to prepare for. But now in the current scenario, after the pandemic, after the COVID pandemic thing happened, okay, everything has become online. There are 2 modes. First is the online mode and second is the offline mode. And even in the offline mode, everything is conducted online only. So I'll tell you right now what is happening. In the online mode, you can sit at your home on your PC and you can give your orals. Both the external examiner and internal examiner will come one by one. They will be asking you questions and they will finalize your result. In the offline mode, whereas you will have to visit to the MMD, but there also you will find a laptop there. You will be under the invigilation of an internal examiner. The external examiner will first come, and that external examiner is going to ask you few questions, and then he is going to pass his marks, like whatever he has assessed you, he will pass on the marks to the internal examiner. And then the internal examiner will, sometimes he might take face-to-face orals, or he might also take an online oral through that laptop only. Okay, so this is how it's been conducted right now. And the surveyor which are connecting, the external examiner, basically he is connecting, he or she, they are connecting from anywhere in India. Okay, so in case you are doing from Mumbai MMD, don't think any surveyor can come. Okay, he can come from Chennai, he can come from Kandla. So in the present scenario, guys, you need to prepare everything. In the earlier days, question sets were enough, surveyor sets were enough, but right now you have to prepare everything thoroughly. You have to go through function 1 nicely, because function 1 is the toughest. Okay, then followed by function 3. Function 2, usually surveyors, they give it because it's very important during your chief mates exams. Function 2 is cargo work basically. Okay, but function 1, which is navigation, they will grill you and drill you on that. Okay, so you have to prepare very nicely for function 1. And in case you are interested in buying books, okay, so I have made a book on function 3. I will show you. So this right here, Crush It in Second Mates Exam. So this is my book. I have written it fully. So there are a lot of topics inside this book. I have covered all the subjects. So you can see ship construction, ship stability, LSA code, solar, smart pole, all the codes and conventions, surveys, medical guide, everything is covered in this. So this is like a small Bible guide, master guide for function 3. And I'll be releasing function 2 book very soon. And after that, I'll be working on function 1. So hopefully in few weeks or months everything will be out, guys, and in case you are interested, you can find out the links in the description and you can order through WhatsApp or through Instagram. Which is the most difficult exam of second mates and why? So first let me tell you what all exams are there in second mates. So firstly you will be giving your signaling exam, which is a Morse code exam, and surveyor will be flashing some lights and you have to identify those lights and write down on a piece of paper. Then you will have to give 6 written papers and 3 oral exams. So in case I have to rank all those 3 exams, I would say orals are the toughest, followed by writtens, and then signaling exam is the easiest of the 3. So even in the orals, now there are 3 orals or 3 functions. So function 1 is navigation, function 2 is cargo handling and stowage, and function 3 is controlling the operation of the ship and taking care of persons on board. Okay, so out of these 3 functions, function 1 is the toughest and I would give it the most difficult exam of second mates. So function 1 is the most difficult oral of second mates, and I will tell you why. Because function 1 is navigation. You are going to be a navigating officer, and first of all surveys are going to test you on that also, on that only, because function 2 is cargo work. Cargo work is usually the main responsibility of chief officers, so they will test you once you give the exam of chief mate. And function 3 is basically a technical function. So for you guys, for as deck cadets, function 1 is the ultimate thing. You have to clear it in first attempt, guys. You have to work really hard. You have to focus on the main topics, which is ROR, Colrex and celestial navigation. These 2 subjects are your core of function 1. You can't make any mistake in these 2 subjects. So you have to prepare your ROR very thoroughly and you have to prepare the concepts of celestial navigation as well. Okay.